Conspiracy theories. They're the whispers in the shadows, the tales of hidden truths. But what if some of these wild theories were actually true? From secret experiments to covert operations. Today we're diving into the top 10 historical conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Starting off at number 10, imagine a secret government program so shocking it sounds like a Hollywood thriller. But here's the twist. It was real. Enter MK Ultra, the CIA's covert mind control experiments during the Cold War. Yes, this isn't fiction. From the 1950s to the 1970s, the CIA conducted experiments on unsuspecting people, trying to control the human mind. They used LSD, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation, often without consent. College students, hospital patients, even prisoners became guinea pigs in this top-secret operation. The goal? To create super spies, erase memories, and extract secrets from enemies. But it spiraled out of control, leaving a trail of trauma. The experiments only came to light in the 1970s when shocking documents were leaked. MK Ultra started as a conspiracy theory. Today, it's a chilling reminder of how far governments will go when no one's watching. Coming up next at number 9. Did you know one of the most pivotal moments of the Vietnam War might have been based on a lie? In 1964, the Gulf of Tonkin incident was reported as a North Vietnamese attack on U.S. naval ships. This led Congress to pass the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, giving President Lyndon B. Johnson nearly unlimited power to escalate the war. Here's the catch. Decades later, declassified documents revealed something shocking. The second attack, which was used to justify the resolution, never happened. U.S. intelligence knew the reports were flawed, yet the government presented it as undeniable fact. This wasn't just a mistake. It's one of the biggest conspiracies in modern history that turned out to be true. It makes you wonder how many lives were shaped by a false narrative. The Gulf of Tonkin wasn't just a moment in history. It was a turning point based on deception. What other secrets from the past might still be waiting to surface? Next up at number 8, imagine this. After World War II, the U.S. secretly recruits over 1,600 Nazi scientists, engineers, and technicians. Sounds like a wild conspiracy, right? But it's 100% true, and it was called Operation Paperclip. The goal? To outpace the Soviet Union in the Cold War arms and space races. These scientists weren't just any scientists. They included people who worked on weapons of mass destruction and even experiments that made headlines at Nuremberg trials. But instead of trials or imprisonment, they were whisked away to America, given new identities, and put to work. One of the most famous recruits? Wernher von Braun, the mastermind behind Nazi rockets, who later helped NASA put a man on the moon. The U.S. government buried their Nazi past, sparking debates about morality versus survival during the Cold War. For years, it sounded like pure conspiracy nonsense, until declassified documents proved it true. Up next at number 7, did you know one of the biggest conspiracy theories turned out to be true? For decades, Big Tobacco insisted smoking was harmless, even as millions got sick. But behind the scenes, they knew the truth all along. In the 1950s, studies started linking smoking to lung cancer. Instead of admitting the risks, tobacco companies launched a massive cover-up. They funded fake research, created doubt in the media, and even hired scientists to argue that cigarettes were safe. Then, in the 1990s, a whistleblower exposed internal documents proving Big Tobacco had known about the dangers since the 1950s. They'd even manipulated nicotine levels to make cigarettes more addictive. The result? Lawsuits, billions in fines, and massive health warnings. But here's the wild part. They didn't just hide the truth. They marketed death as cool. Next up at number 6, here's a historical conspiracy theory that wasn't just a theory, the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. In 1932, the U.S. Public Health Service launched a study in Alabama claiming to offer free healthcare to 600 black men. Sounds noble, right? Except it wasn't. What they didn't tell the participants was that they were being studied for untreated syphilis. And here's the chilling part. They weren't treated, even when penicillin became the standard cure in the 1940s. For 40 years, these men suffered, unknowingly spreading the disease to loved ones. The truth only came to light in 1972, sparking national outrage. The government later issued an apology, but it was too late for many. This isn't just history. It's a horrifying reminder of how trust was betrayed for the sake of science. It's proof that sometimes the crazy conspiracy is painfully true. What do you think? How do we ensure this never happens again? Halfway there, at number 5, not all conspiracy theories are myths. Some, they're shockingly true. Enter the Watergate Scandal, a web of lies, spies, and presidential deception that shook the world. It started in 1972 with a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. 5 men were caught, but their mission, far more sinister. They were linked to President Nixon's re-election campaign. The aim? Spying on political opponents. What followed was a massive cover-up. Bribes, secret tapes, and tampered evidence. Nixon's administration denied everything, but relentless reporters uncovered the truth. The conspiracy unraveled. Those infamous tapes tapes revealed Nixon knew it all. Facing impeachment, he became the first U.S. president to resign. Watergate wasn't just a scandal. It proved that even the highest office isn't above the law. Up next, at number 4. Did you know the U.S. once planned fake attacks on its own soil to justify a war? This isn't a movie plot. It's Operation Northwoods, a declassified Cold War plan that's as shocking as it sounds. In the 1960s, tensions with Cuba were at an all-time high. To gain public support for an invasion, the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff proposed staging fake attacks, including sinking boats, hijacking planes, and even planting bombs, all to blame Cuba. These weren't wild ideas from rogue officials. The plan was officially approved by top military brass. But here's the twist. President John F. Kennedy rejected it, refusing to use deception to go to war. For years, this sounded like a conspiracy theory too wild to believe. But in 1997, declassified documents confirmed it was true. Operation Northwoods shows how far some were willing to go during the Cold War and serves as a chilling reminder of the power of transparency. Next up at number 3, the Manhattan Project is one of the most secretive operations in history, and for a good reason. In the early 1940s, during World War II, the U.S. government began developing the atomic bomb. But here's the kicker. They kept it hidden from almost everyone, even those working on it. Thousands of scientists, engineers, and military personnel were involved, but most had no idea what the project was truly about. The project's true purpose was so secret, the workers only knew their part of the puzzle. Some never realized they were building a weapon of mass destruction. The secrecy was so intense that even President Truman only found out about it after taking office. The project's codename, Manhattan, was just a cover. The real work took place in remote locations like Los Alamos, New Mexico. The conspiracy theories, they were real. The government had successfully pulled off one of the biggest secrets in history, and it all led to the creation of the atomic bomb. Coming up next at number 2, asbestos. Once hailed as a miracle material, used in everything from insulation to brake pads, it was the go-to substance for construction and industry in the 20th century. But behind its widespread use, there was a dangerous secret. Despite growing evidence, companies and governments continued to promote asbestos, even knowing it caused deadly diseases like lung cancer and mesothelioma. It wasn't until the 1970s that the truth began to surface, as lawsuits and medical studies exposed the horrors of prolonged asbestos exposure. For decades, it was downplayed and hidden. The conspiracy that industry giants prioritized profit over the health of workers and consumers. The shocking part, the dangers were known for years, but action was delayed, leading to thousands of deaths. Today, asbestos is banned in many countries, but it's a harsh reminder of how industry and greed can silence life-threatening truths. At last but not least, ever heard of COINTELPRO? It's one of those conspiracy theories that turned out to be true, and it's shocking. In the 1950s, the FBI secretly launched COINTELPRO, short for Counterintelligence Program. The goal? To spy on, disrupt, and discredit civil rights leaders, activists, and even political groups like the Black Panther Party and Martin Luther King Jr. For years, the FBI used tactics like wiretapping, fake letters, and spreading lies to turn the public against these figures. They even tried to sabotage MLK's reputation and disrupt anti-war protests. All of this was hidden from the public until 1971, when a group of activists broke into an FBI office and exposed the documents. It's hard to believe, but COINTELPRO shows how far government agencies were willing to go to silence those they saw as a threat. It wasn't just a theory, it was real, and it changed the way we view the balance between national security and civil rights.